Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books. There's been a big lie going around. She-Hulk was never number one. What do I mean by number one? Number one on cable rating charts. This was going around from a company called Whip Media, the Whip Watch Report. She-Hulk supposedly came in at number one, ahead of Andor, Cobra Kai, Dahmer, Lord of the Rings, supposedly better and more successful than all of these other programs on streaming services. The number one streaming service rated show. This was from Media Play News, which cited this Whip Media Watch Report. And this is what they were saying. She-Hulk Attorney at Law tops weekly Whip US streaming originals chart. That was their claim. And it went around. Here's the 10. Here's the 10 right here. Well, that's fine, but it actually wasn't true. It was a complete lie. And how do we know it was a complete lie? Well, look, I don't watch streaming service ratings, all that carefully. It's not a big part of what I do. But I do keep an eye on thatparkplace.com. They've got a lot of great stories. And this just came out yesterday. They claimed She-Hulk was number one. Now Nielsen says it didn't even chart at all. Do you know who Nielsen is? We've pretty much all heard of Nielsen ratings. They're like the gold standard. They do ratings in multiple industries. They're a big public company based out of New York City. I actually used to know someone that worked at Nielsen. But this is outrageous. This is completely outrageous. I don't know exactly who's behind Whip Media. I haven't done a lot of research. I'm not out to get them or anything like that. But this is ridiculous. This is someone saying, okay, we know the show was a big bomb, but we're going to stick it on there anyway because I don't know what the incentive would possibly be. The rest of their ratings look like they're on target. We only know about this now because the Nielsen ratings for that time period just came out now. How Whip Media had this information, when was this? September 28th? Well, how they had that information, I don't know. But I assume this is going to be blowing up pretty big because, they're completely lying. Same with comicbookresources.com. I like the site. They have some good stuff on there. CBR.com. She-Hulk manages to outperform Andor's series premiere. That's Star Wars project. Whip Media's Watch Report reveals that She-Hulk Attorney at Law outperformed Star Wars streaming series Andor during the latter's debut week. Well, okay, that's fine. Maybe some people were interested to see Hulk. Here it is again. Wow, thanks so much for making She-Hulk official number one. Hope you enjoy tomorrow's episode. # She-Hulk. It's completely not true. Completely not true. I mean, something should be done about this. The best thing I can do is just tell you guys about it and also remind you, please subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up when you like it. It is a huge help. But this is ridiculous. So let's get into the article. From thatparkplace.com, they claim She-Hulk was number one. Now Nielsen says it didn't even chart at all. When we say didn't even chart at all, it means it's not on the list. It's not ahead of Dahmer or Cobra Kai. It's not ahead of old Stranger Things episodes from July. It's not ahead of the Great British Bake Off. It's less than 10 on the top 10 list, not number one on the top 10 list. There's a lot of problems with She-Hulk. There's a lot of problems with the show, how it was done. Yes, I did the video talking about it potentially being canceled. Now I'm guaranteeing you it's canceled because the real numbers are nothing like what they said they were. I have problems with what they did with She-Hulk, but this is another level. This reminds me of, if you recall, there was all sorts of drama and questions over Captain Marvel coming out. It did $1 billion, but there was this massive ticket buying program that Disney did promoting girls going and seeing the movie and whatnot. They paid tremendous amounts of money, millions and millions of dollars buying their own tickets. And when you look at things like this is not something that was, this didn't come out from Disney to shareholders. Disney didn't misrepresent to shareholders, hey, She-Hulk is #1, come buy our stock. This is done on the side through some sort of strange media relationships. There are publicity companies you can pay to say and do almost anything, and I guess this is what one of those is. Just because a company puts out publicity doesn't mean it's legitimate, and it will fool a lot of people. I mean, what do they know, right? I mean, how would they know? People do this with penny stocks and things like that. People run up stocks so that people will buy stocks and buy things they shouldn't be buying. It's very dishonest. But this isn't going to get Disney in trouble unless this gets big enough that people are like, I don't trust anything these people say. And really, you ought not to. Unless it's in a shareholder report. That could even be questionable. But unless it's in a shareholder report, anything that you hear, oh, the estimated box office for Captain Marvel is this. Oh, the estimated box office for this project is that. None of those numbers are subject to the scrutiny of financial reporting so that you know. So when you see, I don't know who this is. I've never heard of Whip Media before. I wasn't watching that closely with, what's being reported. But the next time I see Marvel going out there and promoting, and Disney going out there and promoting that they have this big successful project, I am going to look a lot more closely at who is it that's saying anything about it. I never said that they were at #1. I never was following it that closely that I would have made a statement. Otherwise, I'd be apologizing for it right now. But what I will say is this is fair game. There are also some sketchy things about some of the international box office reporting of some Marvel films that were like a little like, really? Did this film really do $1 billion? They would take the reports from like Hong Kong were the same as Singapore and China where they kind of shouldn't be. It gets a bit complicated. I did do a video about that. I think it was 2 years ago on some Disney films, but this is absolutely shocking. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get back to this story. As you can see, this is really, I'm looking at this and I'm really shocked. So here we go. A number of sources claimed in mid-September that this is another thing that they do. If they can get a few sources to claim it, then it's like, oh, well, we were relying on them. Or they were like, oh, we were relying on you. Oh, I was relying on this other guy. It's like, who did it? I don't know. Now you know why the writers were so upset because they're still so deluded, so upset with criticism that they thought that the criticism of this show as it was, being promoted and coming out, and they hated it. Everyone thought the CGI was terrible. I mean, it's not the fans' fault that the CGI is terrible. It's the fans' job to tell you what they like or don't like, what they're willing to support or not willing to support. That's all they're supposed to do, and that's all they did. But the writers and the people behind She-Hulk are completely obsessed with the idea that it's fans, it's toxic fans who won't give us a chance to do whatever we want and give us a participation trophy and lots of money and accolades and no. Yeah, it may be the first female superhero attorney show, but that doesn't mean that we care. It's got to actually be good. So a number of sources said it was the #1 streaming show, original streaming show. Now Nielsen is proving and providing numbers that show it's completely the opposite. So as you read this is from That Park Place, and it's from the author. This author is great, WDW Pro, giving us a lot of great stories. And by the way, this isn't a rumor. This is Nielsen's numbers. I mean, this is just here's a link. I'm going to give you a link to this article, and you can page through Nielsen's numbers or whatnot because it's public, and they're not going to charge you to look at them. It's free. Go and you'll see for yourself. But this is not a rumor. Okay, Disney Plus She-Hulk Attorney at Law topped the Whip Media chart of streaming originals among U.S. consumers the week ended September 25. The Marvel Comics-based series, which began streaming on Disney Plus in weekly episodes August 18th, rose from number 2 The series follows a lawyer specializing in cases involving superhumans and who also becomes a superhero. And I'll interject to say that she gets the powers of a superhero, but she never behaves like a superhero. She behaves like a villain because all of her focus are on herself. Does nothing for other people. Heroes do things for other people at their own expense. Back to it. Hit series House of the Dragon was not included in the streaming chart because it also airs on HBO linear TV in addition to streaming on HBO Max. On the linear TV Plus streaming chart, it would rank 2. Okay, do you know what that means? I'm going to tell you. Linear TV is cable. That's it. Streaming is direct to consumer. Okay, so if you're a subscriber to HBO through your cable channel, you're getting HBO through your cable channel on linear TV. If you are a HBO Max subscriber, you're getting House of the Dragon through your HBO Max subscription. Some people have both. So Warner Brothers Discovery is such a well-run company that they're able to do very well with House of the Dragon by offering it simultaneously through two distribution channels. Kind of amazing. Kind of amazing you think about that. That's why I do a lot of videos on Warner Brothers Discovery, because I think it's the most innovative and going to be successful big company in entertainment that we have. And it's absolutely going to turn the tide on all the woke stuff, not just at their company, but they're going to set a benchmark that other companies are forced to respond to. That's why I'm so supportive of it, because it's the end of all of this woke and lying and nonsense. Debuting at number 2 on the streaming originals chart was Disney Plus's Andor, the latest series from the Star Wars universe, a prequel to the Star Wars spin-off movie Rogue One. This series follows thief-turned-rebel spy Cassian Andor during the 5 years leading up to the events of the film. Now, by the way, I liked Rogue One. I enjoyed it. It felt like a Star Wars movie to me. So that's my 2 cents on that. Oh, Jamil. Oh, what did you do? As a huge Marvel fan, I have loved making this show. Yeah, is she really a huge Marvel fan? It's for the people this genre forgot all these years, and those people love it and thank us every day. We didn't stick to any old formula, and we made it to number 1. Oh, did you? In the ratings, and we have had a blast making it. Yeah, you sure did. You made it to number 1 in the ratings, but not in reality. Like in fake land, in woke land, you're at number 1. But in reality, no, you're not at number 1. Everything from... I already took the deep breath. It's not working. Everything from Whip Media and Jamil were complete lies. By the way, this statement from her alone, she's verified, she, her, whatever, fine. This statement for her alone, validating this Whip Media company's report, that's enough to make people believe it. So I wouldn't be surprised if people felt fooled. You think she didn't know the truth? Like, she's in the show. Don't they have information like they would speak about with the actors in the show? She must have known. It's just terrible. So everything from Whip Media and Jamil were complete lies. There was zero truth to them at all. And they almost certainly had to have known it. They knew it. They knew it. Nielsen doesn't have the information that Disney has, okay? They don't have the information on the streaming service. Disney knows if it's bigger than Andor or not. They have Andor. That's one of their titles. So they know if She-Hulk was number 1. A lot of people have been talking about She-Hulk. It's been very controversial. Some people were interested to see it just as, curiosity. Other people hate watched it, and some people must have liked it. I've had some people comment on my videos saying that they liked it. Not only, there was zero truth to them all. And of course they knew about it. Not only that, but Jessica Gao, who is the showrunner and the head writer, which basically, that was her responsibility. When you think of producer, but the producer that actually does the work, no offense to producers, but the showrunners really do everything. And all the rest of the She-Hulk crew almost certainly knew their show was a meteoric failure in the ratings. That's why they went after fans. That's why they used identity politics and cheap gender divisions to spit at those who didn't watch them. It also is why there isn't a second season, and there won't be a second season, and they threw Kevin Feige under the bus on the way out. Just like G4 and the Frostbite situation, Jessica Gao and her brood of toxic ideologues are failures. And why does he say this with such certainty, and why am I saying it with such certainty? Like, are you sure these people are liars and this is like a big lie and they were scamming the public and just like whatever, trolling the entire world who was paying attention to them? Why are we so confident about this? Because the ratings are out for exactly the same week where Whip Media, Jamil, and others were claiming that they were number one. And guess what? They did not make the top 10 overall list, and they did not make the top 10 list for original shows. Neither one. By the 6th episode of the series, they'd fallen completely off the charts and were obliterated by Dahmer, Cobra Kai, House of the Dragon, and Rings of Power. They were even beaten again by Stranger Things, a show that ended its last episode in July, which never lost to She-Hulk a single time, even months after it stopped airing new material. Who would watch She-Hulk over Stranger Things? Stranger Things is a good show. It was always a lie. They always knew it was a tremendous bomb. And this is a good example because, you know, again, back in the Captain Marvel days and Brie Larson and whatnot, you know, the idea that Disney was, you know, faking and reporting phony box office numbers and stuff, it seemed like a little bit out there. But they were very public about how they were buying so many tickets. And there were other theaters that people would go to and they'd send pictures of the theaters. You know, of course, it's like their own personal experience, but they would send people would take pictures of the theaters and they'd be like supposedly sold out. And they were not. They were not nearly sold out. So this is all about public narrative. I would not put it past them that they don't just do things like this, obviously, for streaming. They're probably doing it a lot. And that's fine. You can lie to the public and lie to yourself for for so long until it finally catches up and reality hits. So I don't know. This is one of the strangest things I've covered. As much as it's terrible what Disney is doing to Marvel properties, to Pixar properties, and to Star Wars properties, and that can't be excused. But this is one level worse in terms of disrespecting not just fans but the general public to publish fake numbers. And don't think for a second Disney wouldn't be aware, at least in their publicity department. They would be aware. But in addition, this was a show they talked about for a long time. Disney people who are in charge of streaming, Kevin Feige, they knew what this was about. They knew what this was about. This is outrageous. I'm going to put a link to this That Park Places article in the description below. I'll give you a link to a couple. I'll give you all the links. I'm the kind of guy like that. I'll hook you up with the links. So you can check this out more for yourself if you like. There's also going to be a link to Nielsen, so you can look up the thing directly with Nielsen. You just have to trust this article. All right. See what you think about it for yourself. I'd love to see what you have to say about it in the comments below. I will ask you to please subscribe to the channel if you have not done that already. It's a huge help. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. And I will see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.